two metals, copper and zinc, twisted together and dropped into a glass of contaminated water. No electricity, no filter cartridge, no subscription, no replacement parts. Within hours, chlorine is neutralized, heavy metals are trapped, and bacteria begin to die. The science behind it is called a galvanic cell. It was first described by Alessandro Volta in 1799. It was validated by NASA in the 1960s. It was proven effective against E. coli, Salmonella, Legionella, and Staphylococcus in peer-reviewed laboratory tests. The Environmental Protection Agency registered copper as an antimicrobial surface in 2008. And the principle behind it, two dissimilar metals creating an electrochemical reaction in water, has been understood and used by human civilizations for over 4,000 years. Yet the global water filter industry, valued at $48 billion in 2025 and projected to reach $84 billion by 2032, is built entirely on a model that requires you to buy a new plastic cartridge every 60 to 90 days. A model that generates nearly $8 billion per year in replacement cartridge revenue alone. A model that depends, structurally and financially, on the fact that your filter expires. A copper-zinc cell does not expire. It corrodes slowly, deliberately, by design. And as it corrodes, it releases the very ions that purify the water passing through it. The longer it sits in water, the more it works. The process is self-powered. The process is self-sustaining. And the process costs less than $10 to build. This is the story of the oldest water purification technology on Earth. And this is the story of why a $48 billion industry needs you to believe it does not exist. The earliest recorded use of copper for water purification comes from ancient Egypt. The Smith Papyrus, a medical text dating to approximately 2400 BC, documents the use of copper to sterilize drinking water and treat wounds. This is not folklore. This is a medical manuscript that has survived for 4,400 years. Egyptian physicians understood that water stored in copper vessels stayed fresh longer. They did not know why. They did not need to. The observation was enough. Across the Mediterranean, the Persians kept water in silver vessels during long military campaigns. The Greek historian Herodotus documented that Persian kings traveled with wagon trains carrying silver jars specifically to preserve their drinking water on journeys lasting months. No one in the 5th century BC understood ions or electrochemistry, but they understood that certain metals kept water safe to drink in a way that clay and wood could not. The Greeks took this further. Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, wrote extensively about water quality around 400 BC. Greek physicians used copper compounds on open wounds, sprinkled dry copper powder into bandages, and prescribed copper-based treatments for infections. On Greek ships, water stored in copper vessels sustained sailors for months at sea without spoiling. The Romans scaled the principle into public infrastructure. Roman engineers used copper piping to transport water through their aqueduct systems, delivering purified water to public baths, fountains, and households across the empire. The oldest copper plumbing ever discovered was found in an Egyptian funerary pyramid complex dating to 2500 BC, a drainage system built for King Sahure that used copper pipes extending 330 yards. 4,500 years later, those copper pipes survived. The stone crumbled, the copper endured. On the other side of the planet, with zero contact with any of these civilizations, the Aztecs independently developed copper-based water purification and used copper mixtures to treat throat infections. In ancient India, the practice of storing water in copper vessels, known as tamra jal, has been continuous for thousands of years and remains common today. 5 civilizations, 5 continents, zero communication between them. All arrived at the same conclusion: copper purifies water. And when modern science arrived, it confirmed what the ancients already knew. During the great cholera epidemics of the 19th century, 2 of the deadliest outbreaks in European history, an extraordinary pattern emerged. Copper workers, the men and women who spent their days handling copper in foundries and workshops, evaded the disease entirely. Their colleagues in other trades fell ill and died by the thousands. The copper workers survived. At the time, no one could explain it. Today, the explanation is obvious. Constant contact with copper surfaces killed the pathogens before they could establish infection. In 2012, a peer-reviewed study confirmed that water stored in copper vessels for just 4 hours showed significant reduction in E. coli and salmonella. A separate study demonstrated that E. coli O157, which can survive on stainless steel surfaces for more than 28 days, dies on copper surfaces within minutes, not hours, minutes. The EPA registered nearly 300 copper surfaces as antimicrobial in 2008, the first solid metal to receive that designation in history. Now here is what the science actually says is happening. When copper and zinc are placed together in water, they form a galvanic cell. Zinc, which has a lower electrochemical potential, acts as the anode. It begins to oxidize, releasing electrons. Copper, which has a higher potential, acts as the cathode. It receives those electrons. This electron transfer, this redox reaction, generates an electrical potential of approximately 300 millivolts. 300 millivolts does not sound like much, but at the molecular level, it is a weapon. The electrical potential generates hydroxyl radicals, one of the most powerful oxidizing agents known to chemistry. These radicals attack bacterial cell membranes. They disrupt enzyme processes. They destroy algae, fungi, and pathogenic bacteria through a mechanism so fundamental that no organism has ever developed resistance to it. Antibiotics fail because bacteria evolve around them. Copper ions attack a pathway that evolution cannot root around. At the same time, the zinc ions released during oxidation bind to dissolved heavy metals like lead, mercury, and arsenic, converting them into insoluble compounds that precipitate out of the water. The copper ions released from the cathode provide an additional layer of antimicrobial protection, disrupting the enzyme systems of any surviving bacteria. The process also reduces dissolved chlorine through a direct redox reaction, converting it into harmless chloride ions. No external power source, no moving parts, no consumable media, just two metals and the water between them. In the 1960s, NASA needed to solve a specific problem. The Apollo spacecraft would carry astronauts to the moon and back, a journey lasting up to 12 days. The crew needed drinking water, and that water had to stay safe for the entire mission. The purification system also had to be small, lightweight, require minimal power, and operate without constant monitoring. Chlorine was too unstable. It dissipated in heat, required precise dosing, and created irritating byproducts. NASA's Manned Space Center, now known as Johnson Space Center, partnered with the Garrett Corporation Air Research Division and developed a purifier weighing 9 ounces, roughly the size of a cigarette pack. It was completely chlorine-free. It released silver and copper ions into the spacecraft's water supply by passing a low electrical current through metal electrodes. Those ions destroyed bacteria, viruses, and algae on contact by disrupting their enzyme processes. Unlike chlorine, the metal ions did not dissipate from heat or sunlight. They maintained a stable antimicrobial residual throughout the mission. A NASA technical brief confirmed that the silver ions did not impart an unpleasant taste to the water. The technology worked. The astronauts drank purified water on their way to the moon and back. After the Apollo program, NASA granted commercial licenses for the technology. A company called Carefree Clearwater obtained permission to manufacture a modified version for pools, spas, fountains, and industrial cooling systems. Independent testing confirmed the copper-silver ionization system was effective against E. coli, Pseudomonas, Legionella, Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, and Salmonella. Some of these pathogens proved resilient even to high concentrations of chlorine. The copper-silver system eliminated them. The technology was further validated in hospitals. Legionella pneumophila, the bacterium responsible for Legionnaire's disease, was far less likely to grow on copper surfaces and in copper-treated water systems than in plastic or stainless steel ones. Clinical trials showed that copper-silver ionization was effective at eliminating Legionella from hospital water systems where chlorine had failed. And then something revealing happened. The technology, proven in space, validated in laboratories, tested in hospitals, and deployed in commercial facilities, was never marketed to the general public as a primary method of drinking water purification. Instead, the $48 billion water filter industry continued to sell you plastic cartridges. Let me explain why this matters financially. The global replacement water filter cartridge market was valued at nearly $8 billion in 2025. It is projected to reach over $12 billion by 2035. The entire business model depends on one thing. The filter expires. Every 60 to 90 days, you throw away a plastic cartridge and buy a new one. Subscription models now lock consumers into automatic shipments. Smart filters send alerts to your phone telling you it is time to replace. The industry does not sell you clean water. It sells you a recurring dependency on a disposable product. A copper-zinc galvanic cell does not fit this model. It does not expire on a schedule. It corrodes slowly over months or years. It requires no electricity. It requires no subscription. It cannot be made smart. It cannot send you a push notification to buy a replacement. And because the underlying principle, two dissimilar metals in an electrolyte, is a law of electrochemistry that cannot be patented, no corporation can own it. Here is the irony. The water filter industry already uses copper and zinc. A product called KDF, kinetic degradation fluxion media, developed in 1984 and patented by Don Heskett in 1987, consists of brass granules made from a copper and zinc alloy. It is certified to NSF International Standards for Water Treatment. It is used in municipal processing, dental wastewater treatment, and industrial applications. The industry knows the science works. They use it themselves. They package it inside a plastic cartridge with a 60-day expiration date and sell it back to you at a markup. You cannot build a $48 billion industry on a technology that costs $10, lasts for months, and belongs to everyone. Now, honesty demands that I tell you what copper-zinc filtration cannot do. It does not remove organic chemicals like pesticides or disinfection byproducts. It is not effective against parasitic cysts like Giardia or Cryptosporidium. It does not reduce total dissolved solids in the way that reverse osmosis does. These are real limitations. Stanford physician Paul Auerbach specifically recommends against using copper-zinc as a sole means of germicidal treatment where parasites are a concern. This matters. No single purification method solves every water problem. But the solution is not to ignore electrochemical purification entirely. The solution is to combine it with other methods, exactly as you would combine multiple approaches to solve any complex problem. A copper-zinc cell for bacterial elimination and chlorine removal. A charcoal stage for organic chemicals and taste. A physical pre-filter for sediment. A multi-stage system built from materials that cost a few dollars each and do not need to be replaced every 60 days. The components exist. The science is documented. The history spans 4,000 years and 5 continents. NASA proved it works 250,000 miles from Earth. The EPA registered copper's antimicrobial properties. Peer-reviewed electrochemistry confirms every step of the process. And yet, when you search for water purification, the first 10 results are advertisements for plastic cartridges that expire. 2 billion people on this planet still lack access to safely managed drinking water. The World Health Organization has documented this crisis for decades. The water filter industry is projected to nearly double in the next 7 years, not because it is solving the problem, but because the problem is growing and the solution being sold is designed to be repurchased indefinitely. Copper and zinc are among the most abundant metals on Earth. They are non-toxic at the concentrations released during galvanic purification. They are available in every hardware store in every country. They cost almost nothing. The electrochemical principle that drives the reaction was documented in 1799 and has been confirmed by every chemistry textbook written since. The Egyptians knew, the Greeks knew, the Persians knew, the Romans knew, The Aztecs knew, NASA knew, the EPA knows, the industry knows too. They just cannot sell it to you every 60 days. Forbidden harvest exists because knowledge this old, this proven, and this affordable should not need 4,000 years to reach the people who need it most. If this is the first Forbidden Harvest video you have watched, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We show you the science that industries would prefer stayed buried. Drop a comment and tell us, would you trust two metals over a plastic cartridge? The harvest begins now.